So Jiri Chabacek?
Oh, Tzvachovets. No worries. It's difficult even for Czechs to pronounce it correctly. No worries.
So Jiri is from NetSuite, and he's a senior product manager over there, and he'll be talking today about a BYOA, bring your own analytics strategy for cloud applications. So Jiri, take it away, buddy.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to present to you today. So at first, please briefly read this safe harbor statement that our legal department wants us to include in every presentation, although I think that today we are not going to discuss any future plans, so this is just a formality. Now, what I'm going to talk about, first I'd like to briefly introduce NetSuite, and then I'll talk about the product or the feature that uses the Progress Data Direct, and how we use it, and what is our experience with that. So about NetSuite. NetSuite was founded in 1998 by Evan Goldberg, was an ex-Oracle executive, and together with Larry Ellison developed a plan to found basically the first major cloud computing company for ERP software. And until today, the abilities of our software has extended, and it includes, for example, solution for financial, ERP, e-commerce, HCM, professional services, and other. So it's a modular software. You don't have to buy all of the features, you simply buy what you need. And what is important, it's highly customizable. So there are various ways of programmatic customization, and we also provide several interfaces you can integrate NetSuite with, or you can use NetSuite as a data source for other systems. And one of the use cases is the data access, for which we partner with Progress. But details about that later. We have about 16,000 customers in more than 200 countries and territories. So we are really a global company. And because of that potential, Oracle acquired us in November 2016 for more than $9 billion, which was one of the biggest acquisitions in Oracle history. I think the second largest after PeopleSoft. And now we are a standalone global business unit of Oracle. And I can say we are doing well. According to the last Oracle earnings call, our NetSuite has experienced a 30% year-over-year quarterly goal revenue growth. All right, so Suite Analytics Connect. Suite Analytics Connect, and that's the commercial name of this feature, is an optional NetSuite feature that customers can buy if they are interested in the following use cases. Either some customers won't just suck out data out of NetSuite and like use it directly, but of course you can also integrate NetSuite with third-party tools like Microsoft Excel, Burst, Tableau, and some other. Or you can build your own application and use NetSuite data, because majority of our customers use NetSuite for their business transactions, purchase orders, invoices, all of that stuff. I'm not an expert in this area, so I don't know all the details, but basically the NetSuite is used as a database to support their businesses, and majority of the critical business data is stored there. So that's why they often have the need to use this data also in ways that NetSuite itself maybe doesn't provide, or they have already some established solution when they start using NetSuite and they want to continue using their solution. So there are different use cases. So for example, they may want to transfer data from NetSuite to their warehouse and perform some of their established analytics, or they may need to transfer the NetSuite data to third-party operation infrastructure. So let's say that your NetSuite deployment might be connected to a payment gateway or eShop, and the transactions that end up in NetSuite, but they want them to be further processed in their other systems, so they can use Suite Analytics Connect to integrate with NetSuite. Another important use case is very concrete use case is, for example, build financial statements on top of NetSuite data. Although NetSuite keeps adding support for various international tax domiciles, for example, there are still customers who need some special financial statements, and they might prefer paying someone do that for them, but they need to use NetSuite data. So one of the possibilities is like you can see the example of partner Solution 7. It's a UK-based company who develops financial reporting and planning based on Microsoft Excel. So sometimes, although NetSuite has reporting and financial reporting capabilities, there are some use cases, and I would say the long tail is quite important, because the variety of use cases customers need is quite big. So also for us, it's quite efficient when some of the not to cover all possible use cases and edge cases, but partner with a company like Solution 7, integrate via Suite Analytics Connect, and then Solution 7 can build highly customized financial statements exactly according to customer needs. Some customers also use Suite Analytics Connect to backup crucial NetSuite data, although this is not a primary use case of this feature. Let's say the architecture is not primarily designed on high volume transfers, but still there are customers who prefer using it like that. Now, when we take a look at Connect architecture, so this is this diagram to the right. We provide connectivity over ODBC, JDBC, and ADO.NET. So these are drivers that Progress Data Direct provides us. And we partner with Progress in a way that They provide us the drivers and the server part. And the server part, this is installed on our infrastructure. So this is, let's say, this is not difficult. A little bit more complicated situation is with the drivers, because we need to rebrand them, because we brand them as Oracle. And before we can give them customers of them for download, they need to pass various reviews, for example, export reviews and so on, because this is simply required by US law. So this process is sometimes a little bit bureaucratic, but that has nothing to do with Progress. It's simply the way it is in client-server applications. And okay, so on top of the client drivers, either customer can use an universal query client, I don't know, like Deft, or they can have their own application and use one of the drivers in their code, basically. So ODBC, JDBC, ADO.NET. Now, this solution provides us with network connectivity up to the query level. So we don't have to care about establishing network connection, keeping TCP connection, encryption, and all of that. So all of that is provided by DataDirect. So at the time when we were considering build or buy, as James presented a few minutes ago, the decision was clearly to buy, because for us the go-to-market was obviously much faster, because building all the low-level network layers, connectivity, that would be a lot of overhead for a relative narrow set of use cases. Okay, now I can continue with the experience that we have. So obviously, the biggest benefit is this ready-to-use framework that I mentioned, that we didn't have to build ourselves, which wouldn't be efficient. Also, I can say that the integration is pretty easy. So when there is a new release of the server part or the client drivers part, it's not very difficult to deploy the server. I would say that from the integration part, probably the most demanding is the administration. Yeah, so the reviews that we are obliged to complete either by company policies or by a law, like the export review. So this level of partnership enables us to fully focus on our business cases, business use cases. And I can say from experience that our perception is that we are important customer for Progress, because when we raise a feature request and when we of course, because of course we have we generate a lot of feature requests, but when we clearly state what the priority is and what we need, let's say in 6 months or so, in majority of the cases we get what we need, and that's very helpful. The challenges that we experience, I would say, of course, some of the challenges are natural from the model that we use. So we use third-party software, which means that if there is a bug or performance problem or anything with Progress software, we of course have limited ways of debugging it. But That's not specific to Progress. When I worked as a product manager for my previous company, SolarWinds, we were in a very similar situation. It was a different vendor, not Progress, different vendor, but it was similar. So this is simply the way it is. Maybe what I would mention as a suggestion for Progress would be to keep the abilities of the drivers, and I mean here the ODBC, GDBC, and ADO.NET, so that they match. That's sometimes a little bit challenging when each driver handles the network connection in a slightly different way. Then we may experience some headache with that. But again, when we talk to Progress, we usually get that resolved in a timely manner. But if I can give some suggestion for improvement, this would be something that would make our lives easier to keep the drivers with the same features and functionality. So that was probably all I wanted to say.
That was fantastic, Jerry, and I appreciate it, and I also appreciate the feedback that you provided. So thank you for that.